fellas, let's go to a team that I did just touch on, and that's the Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Washington is one of those teams where I liked what they did in the offseason. I did. At first, I didn't because I felt like that they brought in a bunch of like wash guys, kind
Yeah.
of older. I don't think that Austin Eckler is going to be Austin Eckler that we've known him for. I think
No.
he was on the downhill. I think he continues there. They brought in Bobby Wagner again, back end of his career, probably the last few years of his career. He's still been productive, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how well he's going to be. He's not that superstar that he was just a few years ago. But they did do something that I really liked, and they really kind of boosted their offensive line this offseason. They brought in some guys, you know, got that weak part of their O line kind of bulked up. Um, and then of course they brought in Jayden Daniels, which there's always the question mark with the rookie quarterbacks. As good as Jayden Daniels was at LSU, especially what we saw last year, we don't know how that's going to translate to the NFL. No matter
Mm-hmm.
what you say, no matter how much of an expert you are, at the end of the day, when a quarterback goes from college to the NFL, we do not know how it's going to translate. He could be this year's CJ Stroud. We don't know. He could be this year's Bryce Young. We just don't know. So, but I do think that they put, some pieces around him to help support him. I do like what they did with that offensive line. Their defense was disappointing, to say the least. I was looking at their defense at being one of the better ones, and it just didn't end up that way. But they did, they do still have some really good players on that defense. They brought in Dan Quinn, as the head coach, defensive-minded coach. He's a pretty good coach. I think that he'll do well. Had a great tenure there with the Dallas Cowboys. And then they also brought in Cliff Kingsbury. If you look at Cliff Kingsbury, he was with Kyle Murray. Did I feel like decent with Kyle Murray, with the Cardinals. And now he has a similar style quarterback with Jayden Daniels. So the odds are in their favor. I just don't see them having an above 500 year this year. I have them
Yeah.
going 7-10. Better than what they were last year. I think they're definitely on the upswing, but I just don't think that they're there yet.
I when I looked at this team, and I kind of even as I started to think about what I think they're gonna be this year, I keep just coming back to I think they're gonna be fun. I think the Commanders are gonna be a fun team to watch. I think last year they were a bit of a spectacle with Sam Howell at the helm. Slinging the ball, just throwing all willy nilly, just pretty much just
And I
being
hated to
being
see
the
Sam Howell
most.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, he's it was he I think somehow definitely has, had a bit more to give, but also it was so erratic because either like if you really watch those games, they were either like really really like killing, or it was just terrible, or they were just getting destroyed. It was like, and that, there was no in between. So like I get them wanting to kind of reset there, even though I did feel like somehow kind of deserved another shot maybe. But yeah, like Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. You got Eckler and Brian Robinson in the backfield. You got Zach Ertz and the guy they just signed, Ben Sinnott. He's a pretty athletic tight end that they signed in the offseason. I think it's gonna be a fun team, guys. I am looking forward to seeing what Jayden Daniels can do. It'll be interesting to see if he can stay uninjured. From what I saw, Jayden Daniels is a guy that pretty much threw his body into a lot of awkward situations in college. So he needs to get better at that. A la Anthony Richardson needs to learn a thing or two and not get injured. But I'm hoping that Scary Terry finally has a guy that can get him the ball, and I'm hoping we can actually see some fun from this team, than the mediocrity that we've had over the past couple of years. I'm with you. I'm thinking more 7-10 this year as they kind of build up and recalibrate. That's what I've got for them. But I'm excited to see what they got. I'm excited to see the growth, and I think it's going to be a fun team that's going to be able to add more pieces next offseason too, and maybe really compete.
You said something, and you said as soon as you said that they're going to be a fun team to watch. You know
Mm-hmm.
who I immediately thought of? I thought of App State, man. App State in college is electric to watch. They can
Mm-hmm.
upset anybody on any given Saturday. It feels
But
like,
they lose.
but they do lose. I'm not saying that. So,
Yeah.
but they can still be a fun team to watch. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah,
because I
nobody
feel
wants
like
to
that the
watch a fun
Washington
team lose.
Commanders can beat maybe some heavyweights. This year,
I think
but
so.
I don't know how well. I don't see them going.
No.
Above 500. But I
No.
think that it'll be fun. It was something that just popped in my head.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be fun to watch. I think they got huge holes on defense. The secondary's terrible. I mean,
Who
they're
cares about
still pretty good
defense?
up the middle. I mean, poor Jalen. Use that. I don't like what they did on the offensive line. They're still one of the bottom 5 going into this year. They do have the right guard and right tackle they're good. Not great, but they're good. One's a second year guy in the guards, Kosmi, but it's still Jayden Daniels. Like, I think there's a lot of pressure on this guy, but I mean, he does have some weapons around him. I mean, it's not bad, but how's Dan Quinn going to do as a head coach? Going from coordinator that always doesn't translate good, and then he's got such an offensive-minded offensive coordinator with Eric Benin. Someone's going to have to
No,
help
it's
me.
Cliff
No. He's
Kingsbury.
got Kingsbury
Kingsbury,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kingsbury.
Yeah.
So, like, how's that going to go? Is he going to protect the young quarterback? I mean, Kingsbury had Josh Rosen, right?
He did.
Well, he did for
He
1 year,
did 1 year,
and then
and they
he got
gave up.
Kyle Murray.
They gave up on the guy pretty quick.
He deserved it.
I don't think he was. I think it
Fair
was a
enough.
bad pick, but I just don't think there's enough for this team. I think there's going to be so much pressure on Jayden Daniels in that offensive score because I don't like their defense is not good.
Yeah.
The secondary is not good at all. I mean, I get they bring in Bobby Wagner and he'll be a great signal caller for them, but I mean, man, other than that, and they lose Fuller to Miami. Like, man, that's a terrible secondary that they have. So they're gonna give up a lot of points. I don't. I'm gonna be gracious, and I'm sorry, Commander fans, but I think you guys are the bottom dwellers of this division, and I'm
Ooh.
gonna go 6-11 with these guys.
Mm.
I just so much
But
rides on Jayden Daniels. What happened? Or Jayden Daniels? What happens if he gets hurt? Who's the backup?
Jeff Driscoll, I think.
Yeah, like, I mean,
But
if
see,
he
how
gets hurt,
what did you say, Carlos? Like you said, you just said the defense is gonna suck. Guess what that
yeah,
means?
it
Offense is
means
gonna have to try to keep up, and Jayden Daniels
but
is gonna have to try to do something crazy,
It'd
and
be a lot of fun to watch.
that's gonna be fun to
no, he's gonna
watch.
throw a ton of interceptions, and he's gonna be Sam Howell laying on his back, and like,
But he can
I mean,
run.
there's
He can
nothing worse
run.
than it.
He
Who
can't.
we said this about? Wait a minute. You know who we said this about? Go back in time a little bit. We got a quarterback, killed it in college. He can run, he can throw, he's amazing. And now he's doing commentary for college football on some Ocho the Eighth with RG3. We said the same thing with RG3. There's nothing around. There was too much pressure on RG3. He had to do too much, run around, and then he blows his knee out, and he's never the same. And I have a Daniels might follow this pattern. We said that everybody said the exact same thing as RJ3. He looks like RJ3.
Oh man.
Problem is, he may end up like RJ3.
Cover your ears, Commanders fans. Cover your ears, because I know that
If you
no
don't
one
like this
wants to hear
comment, he
that.
will end up like, or you don't like this post. He'll end up like that. Don't let that juju out there.
Yeah.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
It should be an interesting team to watch.
They should be. I hope so. I don't want to see the young guy get hurt by any means, but the left side of that O line is not good, and that's his blind side. And the old days, the quarterback was number one paid, and the next highest paid guy was the left tackle. Well, it ain't that way with this team, so it'll be interesting. But hopefully, they're fun. I mean, but you never want to refer to your team as the fun team. Hey, we went 5-12, but man, we were fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not winning, you're honestly not having fun. But it's to help soften the blow a little bit. But
I'm talking about
Commanders
me
fans,
having fun, though. I'm not really talking about their fans having fun. Like, you know, I'm talking about myself.
Oh, yeah, just about yourself. Mr. Fantasy Guy.